Hey everybody, I hope that you're all doing well. What I was seeing in the pre-shuffle was Magician and the Fool, and whether this is something that you are going to take action with, or it's even just a new perspective that you have that you feel like is more yours than it ever has been. There's definitely something going on that's connected with the way that you are seeing things, the way that you are thinking. This may have a bit of a ripple on things that are going on within your life. We are starting off with Queen of Swords, and I'm also seeing the Chariot, so maybe there was something here that you needed to figure out. Queen of Swords is us when we are looking around, when we're observing something, when we're making sense of something, when we're really tuning in and really listening and wanting to allow whatever's in front of us to speak to us, and we're in that role of listening rather than looking at something and telling it what it is. This is about looking at something and allowing it to speak to you. And the next card that we have out is Justice. So when we have this, maybe there was something going on where you had to find the right balance. And this can even be mentally, maybe you needed to get your head right with something here. I'm seeing Chariot coming out again. There can be a focus on Cancer energy. There can be a highlight on Libra as well. I am seeing Ten of Swords, so maybe this was about needing to get over something here. Okay. So you are moving through this, and I'm seeing you be in a spot where you don't want anything to kind of hold you back or set you back, especially after having to go through something that maybe felt difficult to get the balance. I think that this is more like an emotional and mental balance than anything. If something had been not calibrated, it feels like there's a recalibration that's happening here, and it feels like it may not have been easy for you to do this. I'm seeing specifically, on a scale, how in order to get it to zero out, you have to put the little weight on it and then zero it out, and then it's recalibrated. It feels like something like that, but it's about the balance that you have going on internally. So there was something here, and this can mean if your mind is somewhere and you feel like it's just out of control, or something even emotionally that you feel like is having you topple over in some type of way. This is going to be the balance, especially because we have air and we have water here. So this can for sure be I'm trying to get this right here. And Libra and Cancer, they are, although it's air and it's water, these are both cardinal energies, and cardinal energies are the ones that initiate. So there can be something about a process that needed to be initiated on your end, but I feel like this comes back to you with yourself and something internally. And then having Seven of Wands there, Seven of Wands is about fighting for what you believe in, and this can also be I did all of this work to come to this place of balance within myself. I'm not readily going to allow something to push me over now, because you can feel like you've gotten firmly planted in some way now, and so you can be I'm not going to let anything mess with that. So maybe you're feeling a bit more protective of yourself right now, maybe of your space and of your energy. Especially if you weren't feeling stable before and now you've kind of stabilized, you can just be that took a lot of work for me to stabilize. I don't want something to knock me out of this space. Because you think about things a lot. Okay, I'm seeing Seven of Swords. This makes sense. Seven of Swords in the Tower. Maybe something kind of shocking happened and you don't want it to... If you've done all of this work to get into a balanced place with yourself, I don't know if this is a thought coming through, or this is a person that's coming through. A thought THOUGHT, that kind of thought. you can have, or otherwise, I guess, you can have some type of thought that's coming through, and whatever this is, like, this is your energy, okay? So you're over here, like, I'm trying to protect this, like, balance that I've gained, and I'm seeing something else, like, kind of coming up towards you. And this can be your shadow being like, are you sure that you have those walls set up there? It can be like some type of thought form that's coming through. It can be like an old habit or an old way of doing things. I feel like more on the emotional front. Maybe this is also somebody that you have some type of like emotional connection with that can be coming through. Maybe being kind of like tempting in a little bit of a shadow way to see if they can like knock you off here. But yeah, this can for sure be your own energy as well. Like, maybe you had to, something was going on with your shadow and you had to, this is definitely agent of chaos energy here. Word substratus is coming through. All right, so what this feels like, let's say that this is your own energy. What this feels like is somewhere where you may have wanted to avoid having to face something that needed to be faced here, because it looks like clearly something has to be worked out, and it feels as well like your shadow energy looking at this and saying, I don't want to get involved, when actually like you have to face this, because your shadow is like, let's go in the opposite direction, let's avoid this, but it's like obviously something that has to be worked out here. But your shadow can be like, let's just run away from this actually. But it's something that, having justice there, I feel like there's actually a responsibility for you to show up and face this, whatever it is. And so this actually feels more than anything like you have to set boundaries with yourself, because your shadow's coming through and being like, you know what, we can actually just like not have to deal with this, but then you're gonna know that you're not correctly handling this, and then you are going to be impacted by that. So even though the shadow can be like, let's just take the day off right now and not have to deal with this situation that you have going on, it feels like a cop-out actually. Now, why in the world would we want to walk away from something that we must deal with? We have the energy of Libra here. Libra, which we all have the capacity to connect with, right? Like, we all have a second house, we all have a seventh house, we all have a Venus, even if you don't have like particular Libra placements. And this energy of Libra can be, I want the peace. I want the harmony. I want the balance, but I don't want to have to do the work to get to that place. I just want to like bypass having to do the work. This is wanting to bypass. And I'm not saying that you are. I'm saying your shadow can be coming up and being like, let's avoid this actually, when it's like, no, you would be bypassing if you're doing that. This is something that you need to address. Otherwise, you're not going to actually feel that sense of equilibrium. You can tell yourself that you do, but it's not going to be for real. You'll feel that it's not true. But yeah, that little piece of us, this little piece of us that doesn't know any better at the end of the day, but that we are becoming aware of. Because Queen of Swords is that part of you that you notice this. You notice when your shadow is coming up and whispering something, and even though it can be an easier thing to do that, it feels like you actually know what the correct thing is to be doing here. So you have to do that. So yeah, coming back to this, like, this description of what bypassing is in this sense, bypassing is when you want the result of something without having to do the process that it takes to get that result. And so with the energy of Libra and Cancer, this can be like, I want harmony within myself and within my relationships, within the things that I care about, without having to do the work that it takes to actually get that, without having to work out the things that need to be worked out. I just want it to be all good, and I want to say that it's all good. I want to claim that without actually doing what needs to be done in order for that to happen. So that this can maybe be something that recently you recognized within yourself of like, I do want things to be calm, and I want things to be chill, and I want there to not be an issue, and I want everything to work properly. And you can be noticing where there's a part of you that's like, let's not do that, but then like have things be good, even though your better knowing with that Queen of Swords knows that that's not how things actually work. But your shadow can be really convincing, being like, no, like maybe it can this time, maybe we can get it to work. But then things just still feel off. And you will feel that because this is something that you can't fake. But that's what bypassing is. You want the result, don't want to do the work. And we can all have our different ways of doing it. And each different zodiac carries an energy of like a different way of bypassing in its shadow. And so this is something that can come up really regardless of the sign. I feel like Libra, it's been coming up a lot lately, but this can just be like something collectively that's been going on recently that's about arriving at a place where there is that flow and harmony, where that's actually the legitimate result that you get, versus wanting to claim that energy but not taking the proper steps. And so this can definitely be something that's been going on here, and we have to understand what steps it actually takes in order for us to do that, because sometimes there can be like misconceptions about what justice really is and what harmony really is, and thinking that we're doing things in the right way because all we want is peace, when we're not actually doing the work to achieve that in some way. So this is like, you have to take this step, and this is something that's like clearly a process, but you know that this is the way that it must be done in order for you to be in flow and in that place of balance with yourself. And when you are in that place of walking in the way that you know you need to walk to honor yourself, how you're thinking, the way that you're feeling, it's something where it's like one foot in front of the other. And that Seven of Wands feels like, don't give up on this. This is something that you need to keep going with if you want to build a harmonious structure within your life. Whether this be it be with yourself, it be with a family member, it be within a relationship dynamic that you have, something going on here where there's an importance of this, but it's always going to start within. So if there's some type of imbalance within you, if there is something that's out of whack within you, of course that's going to bleed into your relationships, because everything starts with you. So you can't just, and that's another thing with bypassing as well, right? Like, I just want to fix everything out here, and if I do the work out there, then it'll be okay. But it's like, you still got something going on within that's like messed up here. And so it's like trying to do something on the outside when it really has to come from within. So it doesn't matter how much external work you're doing with this or with that, it's always going to have to do with you. And when you achieve that sense of homeostasis within yourself and centeredness within yourself, where you are right with yourself, then that will have an echo effect on all of your relationships as well. So it's about getting to that place of peace within you. And then that's where the transcendence comes from. That's where we get to where we are trying to go. So this looks like there is some type of issue. You can either bypass with the shadow and not have to deal with it, because this is the thing that's stopping you from building and taking steps in the way that you want to take within your life, in a way that ultimately you're going to feel happy with. We have 10 of Cups on the bottom of the deck. So it's like, you're going to take these proper steps or you're not going to take these proper steps. And that's really what this comes down to at the end of the day. But there's something that, it feels like there's something difficult that you got to do here, if this really is the case. and something maybe challenging that you have been moving through. But I really, like, maybe it's just like today your shadow is really loud in your ear and you're like, no, I gotta keep going with this. Because I feel like you have been trying to do this. Like, you have been trying to establish this within your life, and you have been putting in work, and you have been taking these steps. But yeah, your shadow can just be really loud today and be like, maybe we should just give it all up. Like, maybe this is getting too difficult. But like, you gotta do this for you. Having that Seven of Wands and having Queen of Wands here is, if you want to feel at your best, if you want to feel at your most trusting of yourself and that you're where you're supposed to be and that you're in the right energy, this is something that you gotta keep going with this. And yeah, the way that this is coming about feels like you've been on track and your shadow just may be very loud today and trying to like negotiate with you to see if it's like, here, we can take this shortcut over here, and it's like, it's not going to take you to the same place as it will if you do this the right way. And so that's really the difference. And with the Seven of Swords, it's always this like ignorant part of ourselves that is like, we can get away without doing the work, that doesn't realize that if you don't do this properly, you're not going to get the actual results that you want. You're going to get results, but it's not going to be what you really want from this process. And so that's what this is about. And having 10 of Cups on the bottom of the deck, this is something that it's taking work now, but if you're on track in a way where this is really connected, at the end of the day, the results that you get will be ones that you actually feel so happy with. And maybe now can be a time when you're asking yourself, where you can be evaluating that, like, is this really what I need to be doing here? And it seems like it is. But because this is a general reading, please check in with yourself and ask yourself about that, about where you are. Like, are you doing this for your life to be good in the way that you want it to? Are you doing this for like a better life? Are you doing this for your sense of contentment and fulfillment? Because Cups is always going to be when we put ourselves in situations and make choices that are reflective of emotional compatibility. That leads to the 10 of Cups, where there's emotional reciprocity, emotional compatibility, spiritual compatibility. And then when we get in things that are compatible enough, it becomes sustainable, and then it becomes lasting. So it's just something that works like a well-oiled machine on the emotional and spiritual front. And then you have that, and it's long-lasting, and you feel happy with that. And it feels like that's what all of this is about. So rather than feeling like you're somehow like emotionally depraved, or like you don't have the type of intimacy that you want, this is about really picking the thing that your soul wants. And that when you're in a place where you are working from an open heart chakra, that's the path that you pick. So that can also be a big center focus here. Like, are you prioritizing that? Or are you prioritizing something else? Are you prioritizing something else because you may not want to deal with like the smoke of whatever this is? Which would impede upon you like taking the correct steps to build what you're trying to build. So yeah, that's what all of this is about. So if you've been doing that and you know that you're on track, keep going. It can just be a day that feels more difficult.